room.
Not if I'm not confident.
No, that's absolutely fine. Hopefully we'll be able to break this down into the manageable steps for you so that you kind of like at least have a process to apply. The same as we said that there's a structure for IRTB, there is also a structure for Plan X. So we'll have a look at what that structure is, and you can use that almost like scaffolding to know what you should be doing at what time and then moving on. Okay, so we're going to describe the Plan X process and we're going to have a bit of a demonstration of the 5 steps to go through. So, purpose of a Plan X, yeah, it is a disciplined thought process to produce the best reasoned solution. Okay, it may not be the perfect solution. I've rarely seen a Plan X that is perfect, okay, because there are always problems to overcome, but it's the best reasoned solution that we have. So, we use the Plan X to assess your ability to think clearly. We've mentioned overload of information, okay, so your Plan X is there to help you think clearly. Use logical reasoning, and we'll have a look at how we can demonstrate logical reasoning and justify your thought process, which is something you will be expected to do on SSEA. Okay, top tips. Right, firstly, don't panic. I remember being briefed at the beginning of SSEA, and the bit of information, guidance we were given is you recall Bake Off, and they turn around and they say, bakers, you've got 5 minutes left, and everyone just loses their mind, rushes around, drops muffins on the floor, whatever it is. That's pretty much, we were told to have that energy from the very, very beginning of everything that we did over those 2.5 days. And it was when they turn around and go, you've got half an hour left, and you feel that panic set in, okay? Be aware that it's there, do not let it affect you. Okay, so I'm going to say that again, the panic will be there, that pressure will be there, be aware of it, but do not let it affect you. Keep calm, use the structures that you're picking up on today, and let that help you through that feeling of panic. When we go through on the Plan X, actually take some time, firstly, to understand the context. Okay? What is some of the outlying situations that are within that Plan X? What kind of tasking are you being given? Is it operational? Is it humanitarian? Peacekeeping, MACA tasking? All of these different taskings that we have, understand the context of it, because that will decide what your main aim should be, or what that main aim should look like. Alright, so understanding the context. Go through, filter out the useless information. There will be loads in there. It'll be like, you know, Margaret's got a dog, probably doesn't factor into your planning. Alright, so think about what information is useful. What sorts of information would be useful?
Timings.
Timings, critical, yes. Locations. What you must do, yeah. The tasks.
Risk. Assets.
Risks, assets that you have, resources that you have. Yeah, so all of these things are going to be useful. They're the kind of things that you know, make note of. Alright? The fact that Margaret's got a dog probably isn't relevant, unless your implicit task is to save the dog, in which case take note. Know your speed, distance, time. This is something that you can practice between now and going to Sandhurst, okay? You can practice this 5 minutes every morning on a brain training app, something like Elevate or something like that, brain training app, get your speed, distance, time done. Just like every other muscle you've got, your brain needs to be worked. So don't leave practicing speed, distance, time until the morning of your Plan X. Right, make sure that you're constantly refreshing it. And there will be red herrings in there. Margaret's dog is a red herring, okay? I don't know actually in this one that you've got, I don't think Margaret has a dog, I don't think there's a Margaret. Right, but there will be red herrings in there. Don't get caught up on those. Right, there'll be things in there that you'll find you'll get hooked on, and they have absolutely nothing to do with the tasks that you've been set. And then lastly, the solutions will tend to be reasonably simple. you will naturally try to complicate them a little bit more. All right, so the solutions will be simple. Okay, so Plan X process. What's the first step that we do when we're doing a Plan X then?
Skim read.
Sorry?
Skim read.
Skim read, yeah. So we might skim read it through. So if the purpose is to come up with the best reasoned and justified plan, how do we get to that point?
Understand the main effort.
Understanding the main effort, yeah, so maybe having a look at some aims. Okay. So having a look at some aims. What else are we going to start doing, first of all?
Limitations.
Well, we might have a look at some limitations. This is definitely, yeah, narrowing it down a little bit.
Start timer. So you
Some factors.
Start a timer, yeah.
Some factors, yeah.
Having a look at some factors.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, so what you must do, what you could do, what you should do.
So yeah.
In order like essentials.
So we've got some of the aims there. Yeah, must, should and could, really good. Implicit and inferred. Who here has experience doing a combat estimate? 7 questions. What's question 0?
What have you been asked to do?
What is the, I heard the word situation. What is the situation and how does it affect me? Excellent. The very first thing we do is we have a look at what is the situation, how does it affect me? Yeah, what have I been asked to do? So it is having a look at factors. It is having a look at what we're being asked to do. But it really is that 7 questions, combat estimate, can be really in depth. Okay, but the first thing, what is the situation and what have I been asked to do? Okay, so the first thing we do is situation and problem analysis, and we'll have a look at that in a minute with the Plan X's you've got. We then do red teaming, and we'll come on to that in a little bit. In an individual Plan X, you will not get the chance to red team because you won't have somebody else's work. When you come to the group Plan X, this is a really important step, and we'll talk about that. You'll also have co-development, putting your plan together, co-war game, testing elements of your plan, and then co-selection. What's the difference, do you think, between red teaming and war gaming?
But red teaming, you get an opportunity to go away and counteract it, don't you?
Okay, is that, you said something about
One's playing out your plan, so actually.
one's playing out the plan.
So red team is like perspective,
Red team is,
but more about perspective, getting someone else's like
Put your partners into the situation.
rather than
Yeah,
more
yeah,
actual test.
Red team is challenging your thought or your
challenge, yes. Excellent, so excellent, we've got there as a group. So red teaming is where we challenge assumptions. Red teaming is where we challenge a perception, we come at it with a different perspective. Okay, so red teaming, we're really there to turn around and go, so you've made that decision. Have you thought about it from this point of view? Or, I see you've assumed that all of the roads will be passable. What if they're not? Yeah, so red teaming helps us to challenge some of those assumptions. Wargaming, said here, it's where you start to play out parts of the thing. Might be a particular element, and you're going to play it through with a blue team and a red team, with action, reaction, counteraction. Yeah, I'm going to move my vehicles from here to there. Red team turn around and go, excellent, because we have laid a booby trap for you there. How does that affect your plan? So it's less about the challenging of assumptions, it's more about actually moving your pieces around the board and wargaming a particular element of your plan. Good. And then co-selection, and we'll have a look at co-selection. Now, it will probably be that at SSEA, you're not going to get the chance to do the wargaming element of it because time constraints will be on you. Okay, I've already mentioned with red teaming in your own Plan X, the only who's there to red team it? Yourselves. Be aware, we said it's to challenge assumptions, be aware of the assumptions that you're making. Okay, good. Right, so coming into the Plan X process.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Assumptions, are they necessarily always bad?
No, not at all.
As long as you can say that you've thought about them and you've considered that might happen,
Yeah.
surely you can give it a okay, you considered that.
So assumptions are like heuristics, mental shortcuts that we take that help speed up the planning process. However, without going into an entirely different lesson, slow thinking, fast thinking. Fast thinking is intuitive. We do it probably something like 95% of the time. Yeah? Someone throws a ball at us, we'll just go to catch it. We don't think about that. We don't think about our journey that we drive every day on the way into work. Alright? These are it's like mental shortcuts that just make our life easier. When that starts to influence our decision making, and we're not aware of that influence, that can lead us to make assumptions that create risk that we shouldn't be holding. So if we're assuming that in this situation, there's always going to be an interpreter on hand, I would say that that's an assumption that if it turns out to be false, will affect probably your planning considerations. So if you're making assumptions, be aware of what they are and be aware of what risk they have within your planning. Yeah? Oh no, don't worry, the local government are going to be really happy to see us because we're going there to help. Okay. If that's not the case, what risk does that bring? Are there any instances where that assumption could actually cause friction? And when we have a look at dealing with, like, you know, other governments and humanitarian aid and things, you have to think about how power is displayed. We're not there to overtake, we're there to help and advise, for instance. So thinking about what some resistance may be in that situation. Good. So, rough notes. I recommend getting a sheet of paper and just drawing it off like that. So you can make, as you go through and you skim and you do your first load of rough notes, you can just start to pull some things out in a kind of organised way. Because at this point, you'll be inundated with a whole load of information and it might make you lose track of where you are, lose your scaffolding.
Could you take this with you? Could you practice and then take it with you?
Yeah. Yeah. They take all of your notes off you at the end of it to get ready for your briefing the next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Just have this, like, you know, practice right now and then have that ready to go. So the very first thing you're going to do, what is the situation? What do I mean by situation analysis?
What's the task? What are you expected to achieve?
So,
What's going on?
Understanding what's going on with
yeah, maybe not quite the task specific, but what did we have over here?
Yeah, what's going on, how's it affecting me, or how does it affect?
So what's going on around?
Yeah.
Yeah? As in, you know, are we in a politically friendly area? Are we in a geographically easy accessible area? What's the terrain like? What's the weather like? Are we used to working in, you know, in tropical weather or in freezing cold weather? So understanding what that situation is, understanding maybe some of the nuances we mentioned, like power and things like that. So understanding some of these situational markers that we have. So planning and execution handbook, which for any planet is the absolute kind of like cornerstone. In there it says situation analysis to develop a thorough understanding of the character and nature to frame the problem within its operational context. In other words, if we are moving goods from A to B, what would be the difference if we were doing that in an operational area of conflict or in a humanitarian area? Friendly and clearly tactical, yeah. So you can see there how just understanding the situation around will understand some of the influence that has on the decisions you make. Good. Yeah, so we're identifying the crux of the problem. We had that as well. Having a look at the problem. Establish timings and locations, really important because that will basically determine our sphere of operation. Yeah, where we need to get from and to, rough distances and things like that, understanding. And here you'll probably start a sketch map. You've got a map